Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are doing well, having a good day, um, having a good night whenever you are watching this from. Um, I don't really know how to start today's video. It's been kind of a interesting day, and it's been kind of interesting day. Um, First of all, for those of you who are caught up with the whole situation that last week I had my phone stolen from the home gym that I've been going since the beginning of the year. And so at the start of this brand new week that I felt kind of nervous, anxious going back to the same gym just because of what happened. Felt kind of uneasy, shaky this entire day, and wasn't really sure why. You know, obviously I am talking to you guys, or you're seeing me because I'm recording off of a brand new phone, which is awesome. But so just kind of bearing with that in mind, I was going to a different location for to see if I can use the gym there, because thankfully with my gym membership I can go to other location of the gym as long as it's within the chain of the gym I'm going to. And I'm not trying to let you guys know which gym I'm part of. Is that's one of the convenience of being a membership at a chain franchise or franchise gym, is that there are multiple locations. And I ended up going to the one that I usually go to on the weekends. And funny enough that I went there today, and I went into the gym locker, got dressed, and getting ready to do my half a mile swim, because that's my routine for the end of the until the end of the year. It's just to swim and rehab my hips and my back to hopefully get back into the state I was in before I got into that car accident and try to reverse my scoliosis. And so when I got there and I changed, I when I was as I was trying to enter through the entrance into the pool section, I noticed that the pool section of the gym, the sauna section, pool section was still renovating. And so I was like, oh man, like all this time I thought the gym was ready because it was open already, but turns out this part of the section hasn't been renovated yet. And so I ended up going back to the front, talking to the guy, and the guy was telling me, "Oh yeah, it should open fully, completely, at least the pool section, in about 3 4 weeks." And so I was telling him my situation, how I recently had my phone stolen, and stuff like that. And he felt sorry, and kind of redirected me to another gym that is actually next a city away from my home gym, which was where my phone was stolen. and and bear in mind, I've been kind of avoiding going to this gym because I used to actually go to I used to go to the gym that he mentioned about 9 years ago, 7 8 9 years ago. And just kind of remembering like the experience and the memories of who I was when I went to that gym. And but it was today was one of those things where I had no choice. I skipped the week of gym because I I didn't go last week because of the whole having no phone, having no convenience situation. It was tough. So I decided that today I was gonna return back to the gym, back to my routine, and yeah, I ended up driving to the old gym that I used to go 8 9 years ago. Um, it was um it was kind of comforting. I think my initial reaction was like not much has changed within the outer surface, outer area of the gym, which is really nice. That gym has always known for a great parking lot. You never have to deal with parking in that gym. And yeah, sure enough, I went there. I went inside. I was kind of like, expecting to see familiar faces. Obviously not, because people quit these jobs. People quit jobs all the time working at the gym, and so it was a brand new set of staff, and I ended up kind of checking out the whole gym because I haven't been there in such a long time, and in addition, the guy told me that a lot of old people go to that gym now, the gym that I used to go to 8 9 years ago, and it's relatively safe because, like I said, a big part of how I approach gyms now is like security. I don't want to get my stuff stolen. I can't afford to, just because things are so costly, and I don't have the necessity to fork up another incident. And so I did my thing. I went in and I swim. I did my half a mile swim. It was good. Um, yeah, I don't think people over there swim too often. I only saw one or two other folks that was in the pool, and they weren't really swimming. Maybe I was just there at an interesting time, off time, but what not. And I did my thing. I went back into the finished the whole thing, right. um got in my car, exiting the parking lot. I was kind of driving home. I was driving home, and then I don't know, this surge of just like memories of like these things that just came back to me. And because the reason why is because when I was going to the gym there about 7 8 9 years ago, those were some of the worst times of my life. I just got out of a relationship. I felt lonely. I didn't really have anyone that I could talk to. Um, I was just I don't know how to explain it, but it just felt like um, I think the best way I could describe that part of my life was like I didn't like the life I was living. I hated myself of who I was. I blamed everything on myself. I hated myself a lot. I didn't like who I was. Um, what the the cards that were dealt in my life. A lot of anger, a lot of frustration. Those are the part of my life. And so as I was driving home, right, like these things kind of resurface of who I was, right, who I was, and at the same time, it was reminding that like reminding me of these deficiencies, right. When I broke up with my ex, I felt like I was a stool that had one entire leg of the stool entirely chopped. And you know how like on a stool, right, you need all four leg to obviously stay balanced, right. And I felt like when I came out of the relationship, I had my entire leg just gutted, neuter, chopped, and that was like my attitude in that phase of my life. And that that was tough. That was some of the toughest time of my life, and I did a lot of drugs during those times to cope with the pain because I had a tough time facing my own emotions. I've always tried to hide it and cope. And one of those things I did was to did a lot of drugs. I smoked a lot of weed. Um, and you know what's funny? While I was driving home, those things reminded me of my old self. And I've also realized that I've come a long way. I've come a long way of who I am now as a person. And the thing with changes is that everything is gradual. Everything's gradual, and sometimes the people around you will notice these change if they've been there with you since the beginning. But I think for me is that I've always been kind of in and out of a group of friends, and so the only one that was able to assess the change was myself. When I was driving home, and I was kind of hearing a voice in my head, and reminding me how far I've become. And at the same time, one of the Bible verses came to my mind, and the Bible verses was like, it was like it was look not onto the former things. It was, I think God was telling me something in the car ride, because I went to the gym today with no phone, because that's how paranoid I was to have my phone stolen again, and how important it is that I need my phone, that I would rather go to the gym without a phone. And so I've been driving the entire day with just silence, and I usually put on music or some sort of a YouTube video in the background to listen, but today was just quietness with my own thoughts. And when I was driving home, as I was thinking about these things, I heard the voice that was like, look not onto the former things. It was a verse that basically tells us not to look in the past, because yes, we came from the past, but our past doesn't define who we are as people, right? Those are experiences that we could look back on, but we no longer live those experiences. That identity is no longer us, right? We are made brand new. And I've kind of recognized how far I've come, how much I've grown over the past 8-9 years, just who I am as a person. And at the same time, you know the road is, I'm very much still walking on the road of the road I'm on, getting closer with the Lord. And and when I got home, right, when I was parking the car, um as I was kind of evaluating these changes that has been happening the past 6-9 years of being in that old environment, and realizing who I am now, that greater is He that's in me than he that's in the world. you know um I know this video isn't the usual like psychology advice, uh relationship perspective video that I usually make, but I just really wanted to put that out there, that maybe that could help some of you guys out there, that to remind you that yes, that was who you are, but in this moment you are a different person. You are living in a brand new identity, right? That our past might haunt us, but it's not meant for that to stay there and control us, of who we are. Because I think so many times many of us get stuck in the past, right? We're reminded of these negative events that has happened to us, and those events might have, you know puts you at a detour in life where you are going down a path that you're not supposed to. And I think, I think God spoke to me to reminded me that, yeah, despite going back to my old gym, that I'm made brand new in this creation, and that I don't have to do it by myself anymore, that I have Him who's inside of me, who's looking after me, who cares for me, who knows who I am, and He recognizes me, and He gives me a purpose and identity on how to live, and in Him I find peace and salvation, even though I'm in this old environment, even though that that there are things that I still must do. I don't know. I also felt like He'd call me back there for a reason. And yeah, that's the most interesting thing that I've felt today. It was like He felt like God's calling me back to this old environment, and I'm not too sure why, but I think that there's something for me at that old gym that He wants me to see, or there's a purpose that He's calling me to do there. But I guess only time will know, right? And it's one of those things that I'm just being obedience to Him. Yeah, guys. I hope this video helped, or maybe encourage you in some sort of way. But I think if there's one thing to take away from it, is to remember not to look into the former things, right? Because the you now is not the you in the past, right? And yeah, guys. Guys, if you've made it to the end, and you want to see more videos just like this, guys, please leave a like button, write a comment down, and subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.